Hey, this is Wendy Garrido, where I support people in being more authentic in every aspect of their lives. And today I wanted to talk to you about an interaction I had yesterday with a client friend who I have not seen in several years. And this is someone that I have known for 10 years or so. And I realized that one of the roles that I play with people is to remind them of who they are and who they've been and what their values are. So that when they lose sight of those, or when you lose sight of those, for any number of reasons, that I have developed a relationship with you across time. I am in it for the long game. I am here to build lifelong business partnership, relationship, client dynamics, whatever. I'm in it for the long game. And that means that I get to know you and I can remember what happened to you 2 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 10 years from ago. And I can draw on that knowledge and experience to point out to you where you may have forgotten. Sometimes we forget who we are. When I had my daughter, first time mom, like I used to be so self-connected. And then that got trained the fuck out of me by having a baby because it didn't matter how I felt for the first 6 months. I had to fucking feed the baby or take care of her or whatever. And so it took me a while to remember, and I know this happens with all parents. It's like, oh yeah, my needs matter also. Like I get to say no, I get to ask for support, and it was okay that I didn't do that back then, but it's time to bring that back in and make that a part of me again and draw that out. And because that is one of my core values. And so it's just really beautiful to get to do this when it's especially when it's like someone's like superpower or like something that they're very gifted at, and for various reasons that life happens, we just lose confidence, we forget about that, we are out of practice with it, and it's so beautiful to get to help people connect to like what matters to them and what makes them come alive, and to remind them that for most of us, those things are not very different today than they were when we were 5 or 6 or 10. Like maybe we've had exposure to new experiences since then, but there's something in there that is this steady thread that has been within us since the day we were born and probably before that. And it is such a fucking gift and honor to me that I get to sit down with someone because of how I share myself authentically, vulnerably, transparently, and because I can show up compassionately, I create a safe space that lets somebody share so much of themselves with me and lets me get such a good sense of who they are and how they're feeling and what really fucking matters to them. And we get to like, so much of my work is like bouncing back and forth between the logistical and the practical and the like very emotional and spiritual. And so we get to like drop in and be like, who are you today? What matters to you today? What do you want from your life right now? And those are not questions that logic can answer. And so we have to create this container of emotional safety for those feelings to come up. And once they do, then it's like, oh, well, you're saying that this is important to you. And here you have this business over here built off this thing that is not exactly that, but it's not entirely unrelated. And so now let's shift into the logical, practical, but also expansive brainstorming, looking into the possibilities that nobody's probably thought of yet for how we can use what you've already created and bridge it into the direction of where your heart is calling you. Like that is what I do all day long with, it is what I love to do with people. And and it's one thing to like sit down with me and do that for, you know, an hour and a half or 2 hours on a welcome call when you join my membership. It's another thing to sit down and do it with me for 3 days when we do a intensive retreat. It is another level altogether, and it makes me want to cry when I get to do that with someone year after year after year, because we are constantly growing and changing and evolving. And there's new parts of us that get to be expressed. There's new parts of us that we get to discover. And then we get to express those. And then we get to come back around to how those actually are a reflection of who we've been all along. I always come back to the acorn and the oak tree and how the acorn can be like, I am not that thing. There's, look at me, look at that. We are nothing alike, right? And even the like sapling, the acorn's still like, nope, that's not me. And it's right, it's not, but also it is. And so it's just this tending of like, oh, you've got some new sprouts now. What are they? What direction are they taking you in? And how is this letting you become more fully who you are? And how do we integrate this with where you've been planted and what you've got all around you and what you have surrounding you already? So you can't tell. I love what I do, and I would love to support you if you would like my support. And if I'm not the person for you, then I really don't want to support you. So reach out to me if you so. And otherwise, peruse my YouTube channel, check out my website, and when the time feels right, and when you're sure that I'm the coach for you and you want to work with me, and or whether that's joining my membership or scheduling a one-on-one intensive, I'm here and I would love to connect more. Okay, take care. Big hugs. Bye-bye.